Hello, my name is Steve Olson, and I am very happy to be here speaking to you today from Stockholm about investing in the United States. I am the Executive Director of SelectUSA, the Presidential Priority Initiative to encourage further foreign direct investment into the United States. As you may have guessed from my name, Olson, spelled O-L-S-O-N, I come from Scandinavian heritage, and in fact you might say investing in the United States is in my blood. My great-grandfather, Tobias Olson, came from this part of the world many years ago to settle in Minnesota and then Iowa. And I've named my oldest son Tobias in his honor. So it's, I think, very fitting in that regard that I'm here to speak to you today about investing in the United States. Of course, Sweden has a proud, and the United States have a long and proud partnership. And that's reflected in the amount of investment from Sweden into the United States. Sweden has invested nearly $40 billion in the United States, creating, very importantly, creating over 176,000 jobs for American workers in the United States. That puts Sweden as the 12th largest investor in the U.S., and I would venture to guess the #1 investor in the United States on a per capita basis. So it's quite remarkable and very nice to be starting from a position of strength like this and building upon it. Of course, Sweden is well recognized, a well-deserved recognition for being a very innovative culture with advanced technologies in many different industries. According to the World Economic Forum, Sweden ranks #1 in the world in leveraging information technologies. With advanced IT infrastructure and business-friendly environments and a world-class education system, heavy investment in research and development, and innovative strategies, Sweden has produced a growing list of successful companies, and many of them are already present as investors operating successfully in the United States. And they're taking advantage of the largest fully developed consumer market in the world, in the U.S., of over 310 million people. And through our free trade agreements, they have access to another 420 million consumers. So it truly is one can become a global brand by producing and succeeding in the United States. In fact, recently the San Francisco Business Times in San Francisco, California, was commenting on the Nordic tech invasion. I think they meant it as a good thing, taking place in San Francisco right now, and highlighting the growing number of Swedish companies in particular that are clustering in that area to take advantage of prospective customers and the innovative culture that is infused in Silicon Valley and in the greater San Francisco area, and the partnerships that are able to take place by locating there, where there's such a concentration of early technology companies and also venture capital investors to finance those projects and tech expertise. I'm aware of Sweden's incubation center in that area, and I think that's a wonderful thing. But there are also other places in the United States with similar technology clusters, like Austin, Texas, and the Maryland Biotech Center, and the Raleigh-Durham Research Triangle in North Carolina, just to name a few. I'm also aware that Minnesota continues, not just my great-great-grandfather, but it continues to be a home to many Swedish immigrants, and in particular, they're very proud of the Swedish bioengineering companies that are locating there and clustering in Minnesota. And so I think what we're seeing is many very positive cross-fertilizations between Swedish and U.S. companies, forming partnerships, and of course the American companies investing here in Sweden. And I'm proud to say and happy to note that many Swedish companies have become household names in the United States. Hardly a young couple in the U.S. that doesn't make at least one trip to IKEA when they're starting out. I certainly remember my first trip to IKEA, and I was a little bit disappointed when I realized I had to assemble everything at home. but it all came out very nice in the end. but also H&M stores and Ericsson, just to name a few, are household names in the United States. The cultural ties cannot be underestimated, because this is, of course, a perfect entree to investment, and there are very, very strong cultural ties, certainly in my family personally, but well beyond that, between our two great countries. The King and Queen of Sweden recently visited Minneapolis to inaugurate a new wing of the American Swedish Institute, an organization that promotes and celebrates people-to-people ties. From mid-February to mid-March in Washington, D.C., where I'm located with SelectUSA, we'll be celebrating the Nordic Music and Arts and Nordic Cool Festival. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I know, and I'm also aware that in Memphis, Tennessee, they're highlighting Sweden for their annual Memphis in May celebration. And also, in early May, the King and Queen of Sweden will return to the United States, to Delaware, to celebrate the 375th anniversary of the founding of this new Sweden colony. So we hope that you will visit us to find more about investing in the United States at selectusa.commerce.gov, where you'll find a host of information about accessing the U.S. market, incentive programs, federal programs, and a map, an interactive map that will allow you to connect to all 50 states and 6 territories in the United States, where you can find out more information about investing in those particular locations, as well as a host of other information. But I also want to say that we have contacts for you here in Sweden at the Commercial Service, which you can contact at the U.S. Embassy. So please know that you have that resource here as well. They're very informed on SelectUSA, and one way or the other, we hope to hear from you and welcome you in the United States. Thank you for listening.